Welcome to the EQ Video Tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter, and as always, we're thrilled to have you back for another terrific episode. Before we jump in, as always, let's review the goals of EQ Video Tip. Welcome back. This week's tip comes to us from Stephanie Vaza, who we'd love to hear from. And she talks about weekend habits that will help you achieve your goals. Because let's face it, the weekend is 30% of your week roughly, and we want to make sure that we're using and maximizing the time to be most efficient in terms of working towards your goals and, of course, achieving them. So let's jump into the tips that Stephanie recommends we use to maximize our weekends. Tip number 1, create a plan and schedule it. Now, most people want to be adventurous and spontaneous and do everything they want on the weekend, but sometimes it's important to have a plan and to schedule it. If you want 30 minutes to start writing that book that you've been putting off, schedule 30 minutes for it. Make sure you find time for yourselves. Everybody has busy lives, whether with family, friends, loved ones, you name it. It's very hard to find time for everything, but if you find time in your schedule and put it there, you'll be able to maximize your effort towards the goal that you're trying to achieve. Maybe it's working out on the weekend. Schedule time around it so that you know you're going to do that, and maybe the rest of the weekend you'll be spontaneous. Whatever it is, create a plan and schedule. Tip number 2, revisit your goals. We all have goals on what we want to accomplish, whether it's work-wise, family-wise, exercise-wise, you name it. But we have to take a moment to breathe and understand what our goals are and see how we're progressing towards them. When you create goals, you have an idea and a picture of where you want to be and what it's going to look like in the long run. But we have to look at those milestones and those steps along the ways. If your goal is big, set some milestones and reminders so that you know you are hitting those steps towards that large goal in the end of the game. Remember, measuring your success and progress, it's all part of the longer game. So revisit those goals and take a moment on the weekend to do so. Our next tip number 3, build in accountability. Think about it. If you've ever trained for something, whether it's a bike race, a marathon, sports, you name it, even in work when you're trying to do something, having accountability is really important. Having someone there to measure your goals and push you towards them. So that could be a spouse, could be a loved one, could be a friend, but talk to them. Set aside a little time to talk about your goals, where you've been, and what you're trying to achieve with them. The goal could be work-wise, could be friend-wise, could be, you name it, exercise-wise. Whatever it is, have a partner there to help revisit your goals and then look at them and help you understand how far and how close you are towards achieving them and have the accountability behind it. Our next tip, think ahead. Think about how you want to feel at the end of the weekend. Do you need to be relaxed? Are you going to be energized? Are you going to be exhausted because you went to all these great events the whole weekend and you just tired yourself out, but that rejuvenated yourself? Whatever it might be, picture how you want to feel at the end of the weekend so that you feel that your body and your mind are back where it needs to be when Monday comes around. When you do this and you identify the priorities for your week, you're going to end up with a great goal and picturing yourself finishing that weekend the way that you want it to be. So think ahead, be thoughtful on how you want that weekend to end up, and hopefully you'll end up where you want to be in the end. Our last tip, find ways to improve. Not every weekend is going to be successful. In fact, things that can go wrong can actually teach you lessons that are more valuable than the ones of having a great weekend. And it'll help you recalibrate your weekend and learn about how to improve your weekends going forward. It's important to learn from our mistakes because the more likely we are to fail at them, the more likely we are to succeed in the future. So understand what went well with the weekend and also what didn't go well and how you can improve upon it so you don't make those same mistakes going forward. Again, it's all a work in progress, so find ways to improve so that your weekends become the best. That that concludes this week's EQ video tip. We hope you enjoyed all the tips. Again, thanks to Stephanie Vaza for her great articles as always. Here are the tips that Stephanie provided to us for this week's EQ video tip. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ video tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.